if you're the project, obviously where we're going to go to is he's the project. And so I want us to spend the next session after coffee looking at what the leadership of Jesus actually is. What is Jesus? We're often way too simplistic about the leadership of Jesus. Traditionally we are the servant leadership. And there is a significant amount where Jesus is about servant leadership, but there's a whole lot more to the leadership of Jesus, and we won't even begin to scratch the surface of it. But why it's so important is what I talk about as being the zigzag effect. One generation's extreme, it gets reacted to become the next generation's extreme. So we're always reacting up against what we've experienced. So, for example, when I went to college, my father, who was a pastor, I watched his leadership style, and it was very much command control. You do, and I'll try and control what you're doing. It was one-man leadership. It was so his leadership looked like this. And when he was at college, that's what he was taught, basically. You're the man. You need to lead this thing. Even in the Baptist context, you need to lead this thing. And when I went to college, I went to the same college to train for ministry. That's a whole other weird story. I was basically taught complete, flat, abdicated structure leadership as a response to the command control of a previous generation. We don't want that kind of leadership, and so we'll have no leadership. It's interesting, that happens not just with leadership, it happens with theology. Yesterday's liberalism becomes today's conservative evangelicalism. It happens with leadership, with worship style. Yesterday's formality becomes today's informality. And what you find is that the next generation is always doing this, changing up against last generation's dysfunctionality. And unless you arrest that and start thinking about it, that's the way we deal with leadership as well. But that's not what we're called to change up against. We're called to change up against Jesus, aren't we? He's perfect leadership. He's perfect theology. He's perfect humanity. He's what it looks like to lead a church. And so, unless you actually arrest yourself and begin to say, what does the leadership of Jesus look like? I'm just reacting to something I don't like from yesterday, or something I don't like from a previous generation, or something I think I could improve upon. No. You can always improve, but improve up against Jesus. Work up against Jesus. He's the example. He's the model. It's the leadership of Jesus. So what I'd love you to do, just for the next 10 minutes before the sausage rolls that Vaughan is... I'm going to come and check, Vaughan, that those sausage rolls are done well enough, alright? Just saying. Before we do that, just 10 minutes, you on your own, why don't you just take your pad of paper and just begin to write down what you think the leadership of Jesus looks like. From your experience, from your scriptures, what are the characteristics of the leadership of Jesus? And I'm going to take you to a passage of scripture after coffee, where I'm going to ask you to do an exegesis of that passage and work out what you think that passage tells you about the leadership of Jesus. But what are the characteristics of the leadership of Jesus? Don't try and overanalyze it. Don't then do the therefore we should be like this. But what are the words? What are the stories? How does Jesus lead people? Because that's got to be the key question, hasn't it? For our leadership. If we're raising a generation of Jesus leaders, we're going to raise people to look like this.